Boston Celtics fans, we are officially Paul Pierce days away from real Boston Celtics basketball starting back up again. Could this be the year they finally raise that 18th banner? I know I'm excited, but I want to hear from you guys. Spam your C's in the comments if you are excited for some Boston Celtics basketball. What's going on, Celtics fans? I am your host of Celtics Today by Chad Sports, Allie. Barefoot, my producer, Smitty, is right here to the right, and we are officially less than 2 weeks away from Boston Celtics training camp starting up, but yet the Celtics still have one spot open on their roster. Well, there is a veteran player in the league that has now reached out to the Celtics saying he wants to play. That person, of course, is Austin Rivers. He suggested on the Bill Simmons Podcast that he'd love to join the Boston Celtics. Why wouldn't you? You'd be an idiot if you didn't. But don't get too excited because he also said the Miami Heat would possibly be his number one destination, just like a lot of free agents right now with the Dame Lillard trade going on. But he did mention Boston Celtics are still in the running. He actually spoke with the big man himself, Brad Stevens, and just basically said it'd be a great place to play. He's obviously been in the Celtics jersey before, so it would just be kind of running it back for a longer period of time. But he said, I had a great talk with Brad actually like a week ago. I told him I'd love to be a part of the team. He said a lot of positive things. We'll see if that's something that will come to fruition. I've always loved Brad. I've always been a fan of him. Did you actually know Austin Rivers was in a Boston Celtics jersey for like 3 days back in 2015 around the trade deadline? But this is when Danny Ainge was actually like reconstructing the entire team, and he just shipped him straight back out to the LA Clippers so he can play with his daddy, Doc Rivers. So what do you guys think? Should the Celtics actually sign Austin Rivers in this offseason right now? I guess we're in the preseason now. So type Y for yes, type N for no in the comments. I wish there was an M for a maybe. That's kind of where I'm feeling right now. I'm leaning more on the yes side, but I want to hear from you guys, yes or no. And while you're at it, if the Celtics sign Austin Rivers, we're going to actually have a video posted for you guys. That's why you subscribe to this channel. Go on ahead, hit that button for me. We're putting out new information every week, news and rumors, especially if Austin Rivers does become a Boston Celtic this year. So hit that subscribe button for me. I definitely think it's at least worth exploring. You're not talking about a no-name here. He's been in the league forever. He's 31 years old, so he's got some veteran experience. He, of course, has declined the past few years, but 2 years ago, he played for the Nuggets, which, of course, just won the NBA Finals last year, so he's been around championship contending players. So I do think he could be an asset. You're not looking for somebody to put up big minutes every night. You're obviously filling the last roster spot, so coming off the bench, he definitely could be a viable resource, especially at that point guard depth, because right now, the Boston Celtics are leaning on Derek White to lead the key. They got Peyton Pritchard, who obviously said he's ready to play in Boston, so we know that Pritchard is on the Boston train this year. But we put a question mark around Malcolm Brogdon and J.D. Davison. Malcolm Brogdon, obviously, with his injury, we don't know if he's actually going to be fully healthy to play this year. We also don't know if he's 100% coming back to Boston. He's currently pissed off with them right now because they traded him to the Clippers, and then he came back because they didn't want him. So we'll have to see if he's even there by the trade deadline or the beginning of the season. And J.D. Davison, I just don't think is going to see actual minutes on the floor this year for the Boston Celtics. But I think Austin Rivers, he's not bad. He obviously isn't popping out on paper, but like I said, you're not looking for that player right now. So averaging 8, 7, 6, 4 points per game in the last 4 seasons. He's got a good 3-point percentage shooting there. He can obviously put him up occasionally. He's not like the most sharp shooter at the threes, but I would take these stats for somebody that's going to be a 15th roster spot coming off the bench. Like I said, he's given a little bit more in his veteran leadership, more than he's giving in his stats. So if that's what you're looking for, then he's your guy. But his advanced shooting kind of scares me a little bit. He's fine shooting less than 10 feet. I would hope so if you're in the league, making about 60% of his shots. His pull-ups are garbage. He's not taking any of these shots anyways. He knows he's not good at them. That's why he's not taking them. But that number is atrocious. I don't even like looking at it. His catch and shoot threes, that's fine. He can definitely make some offense happen. But like I said, he's probably going to be more of a defensive asset for you, but he's declined in that area as well. So I know I'm not hyping him up a big time right now, but that's kind of how I feel about this player. He's kind of towards the end of his career. He might not be the greatest option at playing 25 minutes per game, but they're not asking him to play 25 minutes per game. In my opinion, if you're going to be looking for point guard depth, I'm going to go sign Campaign, who's a free agent right now, who's currently in his prime, I think, which isn't saying much, but I think Austin Rivers is just kind of declining. Plus, he'd be competing with Peyton Pritchard right now for some minutes, and I think that they're actually kind of similar when it comes to stats on the paper, so it really depends on, do you want the young, scrappy guy who's got some time to give, he's got less injuries, or do you want Austin Rivers, who is just a little bit of an older guy? He's kind of going to be like the Al Horford on the team, but obviously not as old as Al Horford. So they're averaging about a point difference in their stats last year when Rivers was obviously with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And their three-point percentage is pretty much right there. I mean, they're literally the exact same person on the stat sheet. So what's the difference, really? Who do you want on the court? Do you want that scrappy young guy who's going to give you some more? And don't knock Rivers. He can definitely ruffle some feathers, as PDS said. I mean, this man literally tried to tee up his own dad when he was in the Houston Rockets. So I don't have any problem with him playing in the Boston arena. I know he can hold his own. He can definitely get in some defenders' heads and also on offense. So I think they're kind of similar too, but do you want a veteran or do you want a guy that's 25 years old? Now, Peyton Pritchard has been working in Boston. He told Adam Himmelsbach with the Boston Globe earlier this week, I feel like the guys are really motivated. There's a sense of urgency to do something special, and when you feel it, when you get that chance to win at this level, you've got to have a sense of urgency and work toward it. He has been in Boston for the past 4 weeks working on this. I know other players have as well. So I personally think I would take Rivers in this situation just because of that veteran leadership. I think Peyton Pritchard still has to build his trust up a little bit with what he pulled in Boston last year with the I want to get out of here by the trade deadline and then mentioned it again this past summer. So Austin Rivers says he wants to play, so I would give him the opportunity to show what he's got. But also, if we go with Peyton Pritchard, I'm not opposed to it. I think Brogdon's health is also concerning because if you're just going to rely on Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, then you're going to have to sign somebody like Austin Rivers or Campaign at the point guard position because Brogdon, you just can't rely on him whether or not he's going to actually show up with his attitude this year, if he's still mad at Celtics, if they haven't gotten that disclosed yet. But also with that shooting arm, you don't want to rely on somebody to be your second string, even third string, if you know he's got injuries, because when push comes to shove, you really don't want to be pulling J.D. Davison up to the main roster. That's just my opinion. He can definitely show himself later in the season, but it's still pretty concerning with Brogdon's health. So adding Rivers could definitely be a plus. Now, coming up, we are going to talk about some Celtics news and nuggets. Guys, like I said, we are 34 days away from the season starting. There is so much to get looking forward to. We got a bunch of games we're going to disclose right now, but I want to take a step back, and I want to ask you guys, would you start Austin Rivers or Peyton Pritchard? I'm going to go with Austin Rivers. I still think Peyton Pritchard's got some things to prove, but I could be wrong, so let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me, type R for Rivers, type P for Pritchard. We're now going to get to a few little things that have popped up over the past few days we thought Celtics fans would like to know, including the big man has now finally arrived in Boston. We know he's looking healthy. He only missed 17 games last year, but Kristaps Porzingis posted this on his Instagram story saying, "Good morning, Boston, Massachusetts. I know Boston fans are very excited to have him getting ready to work in this preseason for the Boston Celtics because the season is not that far away and there's already a game to look forward to. On November 19th, the Celtics will be traveling to Memphis to play the Grizzlies and their former teammate, that hurts my heart to say former, Marcus Smart, and there was already a little bit of chitter-chatter going in on Instagram comments as they did post this. Of course, Jaylen Brown said, "My brother for life." Jaren, of course, said, "My brother now." And I don't think the Celtics really liked that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see Marcus Smart go up against the Boston Celtics and vice versa to see if Celtics fans are going to be a little mad about not seeing Marcus Smart in the Celtics jersey this year. But we also know that Jason Tatum has been getting in some work in the offseason, and Peyton Pritchard even told Adam Himmelsbach with the Boston Globe that he's been there for the past 4 weeks. And there's something brewing in the center right now with all these Celtics who are currently working in the offseason. They know this is going to be something special this year. So while you guys are at it, go on ahead and hit subscribe for me. We're going to be bringing you up-to-date information, news, and rumors on Boston Celtics. Like I said, Paul Pierce days away from opening the season off on the right foot. Let's get that 18th banner this year and hit subscribe for me.